Apple's iCloud is really Amazon's. Someone is actually suing Apple because two-factor authentication is too hard. JCPenney's has decided they're doing so well in their stores that they won't accept Apple Pay anymore. And iOS 13 will certainly have its fair share of bugs when it comes out. But it may also have mice. Tonight on the Mac to the Future Livecast Go. Or is it Mac to the Future Go Live? It's something like that. We'll figure it out later. Yes, hello, and tonight it is the Mac to the Future show. It is 8 o'clock Eastern Standard Time, and I'm here with all the usual suspects. My name is Guy Serle. I am your humble host of the Mac to the Future livecast, but I am not alone in this madness. I am also joined, let's see if I can figure this out. Is it this button here? It is that button there. Hello, Dave. How are you, sir?
I am doing well, Guy. How's it going? We finally got Mimo working. I'm so happy.
Well, it wasn't me who got it working. It was due to the diligence and hard work of the good people over there at Boinks Software. You can find out more about Mimo,
Yes.
Mimo Live, which is the program that we're currently using, over at boinks.com. This is by far my favorite way of doing the live cast. And when we could not get it to work for the last couple of weeks, I was literally pulling my hair out. We also have one other person that's here with us today. There he is. He's playing with his spinners.
Remember fidget spinners?
Uh-oh. You're echoing again.
Dude, I don't know. I didn't touch nothing.
You sure?
I promise. I didn't even touch the microphone. So I didn't move from last time.
It's so weird. I don't understand why this is happening. Okay, well we'll figure something out as we go along. I'm going to switch to the multicam. Hey, how do I do that? I don't remember. It's been so long. There we go. We are back over at the multicam, and I am hiding some of the Facebook comments, which I don't want to do. So I'm going to switch over to this, and I'm going to move you guys over just a little bit. There we go. All right. We have our Facebook comments are working, and we're all up here on screen, and Warren sounds like a chipmunk on acid. And so all is right with the world.
That's normal.
Okay, well, you're back to normal again. So, yay.
But don't say anything.
Don't say anything. Can you get closer? Can you get closer to your camera? You look like you're hiding something.
Yeah, we got up here somewhere.
Really? I'm scared to move. I'm scared to actually touch it. Okay.
No, you can get there. We go there and stay right. Don't move. Don't move from there. Now you're too close. Now you're too close.
I'm fine.
You're the pirate.
All right. So, Dave, I understand you have a new webcam.
I do. This is the Logitech C930E. It's a business quality camera, and it has quite a spectacular picture, I must admit. Plus, it's got a wide angle view, so you're getting a much wider angle of me, and not that I need to be wider than I already am, but it does look pretty well, good.
It does.
I'm looking forward to. This is the first podcast I've been doing it on with the new camera, so.
Yeah, well, that's the same one that I've been using for a while. They actually there is one they have that is better, but it's also almost $200. And and not only that,
I wasn't gonna do it. I couldn't do it.
Yeah, it's like, hey, you can broadcast in 4K. It's like
4K. Yeah, I could do 4K that video.
Who wants to see me in 4K? Nobody wants to see me in 4K.
Bad enough.
Yeah, there's a reason why I wear this hat every single week. Anyway, yes, Dave's camera looks minty fresh. Thank you,
It does look
Marcus.
minty fresh. Thank you, Marcus.
Well, we have a plethora of stories to discuss
do.
this evening, and somebody is leading, you know that word.
Yeah.
The first one is one that caught my eye, and it is, I did not know this, that Apple is probably one of the biggest users of Amazon's cloud service. AWS, what does that stand for? Amazon
Web
services.
Web Service. They're like one of the biggest users of that, to the tune of, they just signed a 5-year deal with them for $360 million a year. So, and I forgot to put the link up for that. Shame on me. There it is. There it is right there.
Billions of dollars.
No, million. $360 million a year.
Wow.
Apple
It
is...
says 1.5 billion 5-year deal.
Yeah, well, that's 360 million a year for 5 years.
Oh, my apologies for just questioning you.
I cannot believe that I'm being questioned. Where now? I see. Now I can't find. Oh, Facebook comments are right here, so I'm gonna move those up just a little bit. Is that working? No, it's not working because I'm not on the right thing. No, that's not it. You see, this is what I sometimes have to do in order to, because I don't always understand that things are happening live. So I moved that up. Okay. And it still didn't do it, but I'm going to stop and we're going to talk about the story. So Apple is also in the process of creating their own data centers all over the world, but with services become the new money-making thing for Apple, they obviously can't make them fast enough, which is why Apple leases space not just with Amazon, but with Google and Microsoft as well. Warren, what do you think about that?
Yeah, they've been doing it for a while, I think. So Amazon Web Services is basically the just server space in the cloud. So, a lot of companies do it right now. I think Microsoft, I forget what their name is, but Google has it, and Amazon has it, and I think when the Bloomberg story came out, didn't they accuse those servers of having that a hack in it? I think that's who they were accusing, the web servers. But yeah, no, it's common practice. A lot of places do it. Businesses do it all the time, and if you need
Yeah, they're
space,
just it's basically just leasing space.
Yeah, it's server space. You could install Linux on it. You could install Windows on it. They probably have Mac servers on it too. Mac server installed, and you just remote on, and they take the hardware. They probably virtualize everything, so it's probably a bunch of big machines and virtual servers. So
Okay, Dave.
I mean, what choice? Yeah, no.
No, they don't have any choice.
Mm-hmm.
If they have services that they need to get out there and they don't have the space or the bandwidth to do it, then they got to go with someone else.
Yeah, I mean, we know they have some because they have iCloud services too. So they obviously have their own servers too. So I don't know if they want to be in a business to build it out more or not.
Yep, Dave, what do you think?
Yeah, AWS is a huge money making cow for Amazon. That's why Amazon's making as much money as they are, because that service alone is just incredible, and how incredibly large it's increased. You got like you said, Apple has its own server farms and server locations all over the world, but you got to lease some space, and there's plenty of enterprise companies that do it. There's plenty of Microsoft does it. I know they probably use some of their services. And then other companies uses their cloud services, where Office 365 or OneDrive. So AWS is playing is a part of a game for all of the services that are out there. But no, I'm not surprised. Apple has really gotten a lot flexible with looking at services that's going to make their customers happy, and that's what this is for. The AWS bandwidth is huge. Being able to have access to storage is huge. So I'm not surprised about this announcement.
Okay. We're gonna move on to
Well, guy, what do you think?
What do I think?
Yeah,
I think.
What about you?
I think Apple is going to do what's best for Apple, and if that means getting into bed with Amazon or Google or whoever else, that as long as it doesn't cross that line that Tim Cook likes to go on about with privacy or some of the other things that Amazon has stood for in the past, that it doesn't really bother me. I think
But what about the people that are really that concerned about privacy and hear these stories? Do you think they're upset about it? Do you think
that Apple is using AWS services?
And Google, mainly Google.
Why would they be upset about it?
The privacy aspect, the security aspect, competition aspect.
Well, I guess it doesn't. But that kind of depends on what part of their services that they're using. If they're not using that storage or bandwidth for secure information in regards to Apple users, then what's the big deal? If they're using it to store encrypted pages files, they're all hashed. You can't read them unless you're able to decrypt the hash somehow. Or if they're using it for whatever it is that they're using it for, it's just server space. And then, it's being uploaded from those cloud services to users all over the world where it's being unencrypted and served up. So sure,
Maybe.
Why not?
Well, we're kind of hoping that, they're putting iCloud stuff on their servers and, Jennifer Aniston's show on Amazon's server so people can stream down things like that aren't privacy based, that maybe takes up a lot of space, such as video content and music and so on.
Yeah, like this show.
Like this show too.
Like this show, right.
And us.
Yeah.
Hello, Frank. How are you today, sir? Tonight,
Hey,
sir.
Frank.
All right. Anything else before we move on?
Frank he's just peachy. No, it's Petrie. Sorry.
Petri. Next story.
I thought it was peachy, but he's Petrie.
I want less security, and I want it now. In the latest version of Even Lawyers Need Work, plaintiff Brodsky, by and through his counsel, brings a class action complaint against defendant Apple and or defendant on behalf of himself and all others similarly situated, alleges that Apple's two-factor authentication takes too long, abuses user, and violates the law because it can't be revoked after 14 days. The plaintiff alleges that Apple did not get user consent to enable two-factor authentication, which is not correct. The plaintiff mentions that two-factor authentication interruption is continuous, systematic, and ongoing. That is not correct. The plaintiff is suing because Apple doesn't allow you to turn off two-factor authentication after 2 weeks, which is the one thing in this whole thing that he was correct about. Let's start with Cylon Warren. What do you think, Warren?
So, my first thought is, I think, wasn't this an older story? At least didn't just happen a while ago, I thought.
I just saw it recently.
I kind of remember this. Maybe he was just starting the lawsuit back then, but I kind of remember this happening
It's a
couple
comment
months
piece.
ago. What? Say that again?
It's a comment. It's just a comment piece that Forbes wrote. I mean, yeah.
Okay, but the story is a couple months old now, right? Yeah. So no, I like the guy who's suing Apple for $1 billion for accusing him of being a thief. That's because of Apple's face
ID that I guess they supposedly have in each and every store, and that's how he was identified. No, they don't. Of course,
they're saying they don't even have it. It's some sort of facial record.
Yeah, and that guy's an idiot too.
Yeah, but $1 billion. That's That's a better lawsuit. If I'm going to do a
Oh, no,
lawsuit,
see,
I'm doing that one.
you gotta do it the right way. $1 billion. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, Dave. What do you
Oh,
think?
shit,
Yeah, nice, Dave.
$1
That was nice.
Billion
No, the
dollars.
pinky's upside down. It's got to be facing out. Pinky facing out.
Oh, is it here? Okay.
You got to turn your hand around. The hands down.
Oh, it's this.
Pinky out. Right. And I shall call him Mini Me.
I think this is a frivolous lawsuit. It should be thrown out. It's silliness. I think this guy's an idiot. Two-factor authentication is here to stay. I deal with it all the time in business. It's important. I mean, you got to keep these devices secure. I mean, it's plain and simple. I mean, I was resistant to it for quite a while, and I finally realized, I can't. I got to keep my devices secure and live with it. I mean, that's the way it is. I've been working with it with Microsoft's Authenticator app. It's pretty slick. I mean, it brings the authentication right back over to Outlook and lets you in, for specific apps. But for your phone, yeah, why not? I mean, if someone hacks your Apple ID, I would.
Well, it's not just your phone though. I mean, this two-factor authentication is set up for every single one of your Apple devices as well as some of their services now.
Yep. Yeah. So I mean, silly.
I've gone on to Pages at various locations, even on Windows computer through the web interface, and I've had to authenticate that I was who I said I was through an Apple device on a so I could get to my stuff on a Windows computer through a browser.
Yep.
So it's not just Apple hardware. It's also a lot of their software and services as well that have to be authenticated, and in some cases you don't have a choice.
Go ahead.
Well, in the case of what I was saying with Pages, you have to authenticate that you are who you are, and but again, this is not. It's not like some overwhelming burden. In this day and age, who doesn't always have their phone with them? If you're using your phone to authenticate that you are who you say you are, then what's the big hairy ass deal? What It seems to me that we live in a world where people want one of two things. They either want to be a victim or they want easy money. And sometimes one can lead to the other, I guess. So that's, I'm going to get myself in trouble.
So just a quick story.
Yeah.
So before you get it, so just the big thing with not turning on two-factor authentication is, and this happens to people, is there's people that will pick up their phone and say your phone has been locked and to send ransom to this email address.
Right.
And you get that, and that's a real thing because there's not two-factor authentication. Somebody gets your iCloud information, they could put a lock request or they could pretty much screw around with your iCloud and lock down your phone completely that you can't get into it. So that's I've seen that, and the answer is two-factor authentication if you don't want to do that. If you don't want to get that done, you gotta do it.
Well, then, yeah, but again, some of these people would be the same people that if they didn't use two-factor authentication and their accounts got hacked, or not even really so much hacked, but they just had such crappy-ass passwords that somebody was able to guess it, or even worse. And, I was listening to something earlier today. Do not use the same password for all of your different services. Because it's not even.
I use I love Guy 123 for all my passwords.
Yeah, see, that's a bad password for many, many reasons. That's a bad password.
Capital I and LUV 3.
Love
1, 2, 3.
LUV. Nice. 1, 2, 3. And are there like little heart emojis in there too? Can you use emojis in a password?
Not.
Well, what you could have done. You could have done a bracket and then the number 3, and that would have worked.
I could have done that.
You didn't even think of that, did you?
Actually, I didn't even come up with the password. It was a Safari suggestion when I filled out the form.
Yeah.
I'm like, sure, let's
It's kind of like, that's odd. Huh.
I was
Guy,
here.
guy has something to do with this, I'm sure.
Yeah.
All right. Do we need to go on with this guy? Because he's
No, just turn on two-factor for all you 8 people watching, and not including the 3 of us, which will make 5 of you. Turn on your two-factor authentication
Yes.
now if you haven't done it.
yeah. Well, wait till the show is over, then do that.
Well, it could be too late.
Well, I see. Once this show is over, that's their problem. All right. Next story. J.C. Penney's doesn't want your stinking Apple money. This is a story from Mac Rumors. The retailer, and I want you to notice that I did not say troubled, even though they are, has removed all contactless forms of payment from their remaining stores little more than 3 years after offering it. According to some customers' attempt to pay using Apple Pay were rejected, and they were forced to use other methods. No prior announcement from JCPenney's was made before the policy was instituted. Apparently, this may have been in response to a policy by the credit card company Visa to retire magstripe type cards, and JCPenney's didn't want to spend the money to upgrade their own hardware. A statement from JCPenney's reads, a third-party credit card brand made the requirement for all merchants to actively support EMV contactless functionality effective April 13th, retiring the legacy MSD contactless technology in place. Given the resources and lead time associated with meeting the new mandate, JCPenney's chose to suspend all contactless payment options, I can't read, until a later date. Customers still have the ability to complete their transactions manually, like a caveman, by inserting or swiping their physical credit cards at our point-of-sale terminals in stores, an option employed by the vast majority of JCPenney shoppers, which might explain why they're having so many problems.
Yes.
When the average age of your customer is 75, that's a problem.
It is.
That is a problem. Dave, let's start with you. What do you think?
Crazy, and it just, again, it's just another era of a retailer it's going to disappear, but like the dinosaur. Sears was happening to them. It's happening to Penny's. Macy's is probably going to be next. It's just these retailers are just not reacting to the marketplace. You got to have contactless payment these days. You just can't avoid it anymore. If it costs the money to do it, then do it. You'll recoup on your cost in no time. So what's the point of them doing this other than irritating all the people who have Apple Pay and want to use their iPhone or Apple Watch to pay for their products and services? Silliness. I'm the point. I don't even know if I want to shop there anymore. And I do shop there. They have some, nice clothes and other things I've purchased there before. So,
Warren?
No, the same thing, but I think I'm going to steal somebody's credit card and buy some Van Heusen shirts at JCPenney.
At JCPenney's.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, some money. And these credit card things, it's not new. It was money with CVS when they didn't want to do it because they had a deal. Apple takes a cut. The credit card company takes a cut. American Express takes a cut. So all these places take cuts out of the sale, and companies don't like that. So they look for ways to get around that. But it sounds like that's not this case. It sounds like they're not updating their hardware, which is pretty much guaranteeing that in 4 months we're going to read a story saying credit card hack, major credit card hack, JCPenney, 2 million accounts compromised or something like that. So I'm sure we'll get that soon.
Okay. Wow, I just got lost. What am I doing? There, that's what I'm doing. I think I know why you're siloning, but I'm going to have to try to fix it in a minute. All right.
So it's not me.
I don't think it is you.
See, told you.
Last story for the evening. This was a story. Somehow or another my notes got messed up. Who erased my notes and link? It's gone.
This is mouse support for the iPad is what it was, but I don't know how to
Yeah,
get one.
but there was a link to where the story. Anyway, there is some speculation that iOS 13 could bring mouse track support to certain iPads. So oddly enough, the rumor in the story says that will only be for iPads with USB-C ports, as that is supposed to be the way these devices connect. And naturally, the story has said that they'll update it when they hear back from Apple, because Apple responds to every single one of these things toot sweet. What do you think, Warren?
Yeah. Well, I mean, first of all, the USB-C thing is weird because wouldn't you just pair it with a Bluetooth device? But who knows? Any case, I've been wanting mouse support on an iPad for like ever. Only because I do a lot of remote IT support, and when you do that, you're basically remoting onto somebody's computer, like TeamViewer or Screen Connect or something like that. You see their computer in front of you, and you control it, and you can fix it. But without a mouse, it's sucks because you gotta touch everywhere, and the cursor doesn't really move. So that's my only reason for wanting mouse support on it. And if the option is there and you could do it, most of the time you're not going to use it, but having the option doesn't not excite me. So I think I'd be into doing that. If it came out, would I buy an iPad Pro just so I could do that? I don't know. Maybe.
What do you think, Dave?
Yeah, like the article says, this is our friends from that were quoted from Mac Stories. That yeah, that they're saying that it's going to be a USB only device, USB C. That's crazy. And Apple would never limit it to that. And I can almost guarantee if this is going to happen, this is going to be a Bluetooth support. And also, I was going to say this is a good excuse for you to get your iPad Pro there, Warren.
Yeah. No,
And
I'm telling the wife now.
so it looks like that from what the article says, they're limiting it to the Pro series, the 11 and the 12.9 inch, and but that would be a strange decision if there would just be USB-C. I find some questionability of that.
Well, I mean, typically, whenever Apple has released iOS 13, has released a new version of iOS, all of the features that are available on that new version of the operating system will typically go back at the very least 2 to 3 generations of the devices that it'll run on. Now, it may run on older devices that won't support some of the newer features, but at least in this case, like let's say it's released, of course it's going to be, it's released in September. Well, then I would think that iPhone 8s and the original iPhone 10s would all be able to support whatever the newest features are, as well as iPads that go back at least to the first Pros, as well as, and again, and this would include the new iPad, the 6th gen iPad, and the iPad Mini 5. I mean, there's no reason why it wouldn't support those devices.
Well, you would think. But again, those don't have USB-C. If they're going to limit it to that, there must be a reason. But I would hope not, because they have Bluetooth capabilities too. So, I mean, it would only make sense.
Yeah.
There are features in an iPhone 10 that's not available on iPhone 8. And there's available features on an iPad Pro that's not available on an iPad Mini. It's not a lot, but there's a few. That's different. But this would, if it works over Bluetooth, then yeah, it should work no matter what the device is. And if it doesn't, that's just Apple being silly and not allowing it to work on those devices for some reason.
But think about it too. Maybe there's certain devices it doesn't want to work over Bluetooth. Who knows? I mean, it's hard to say. We're speculating here.
I don't know. I can't see why it wouldn't work with an original iPad. I mean, or sorry, not the original iPad, the original iPad Pro. That was the I think the cutoff would be less about the models and more about the internal hardware. So something like they'd say something like, okay, all the iPads that have A10s and up will be able to deal with this feature. All iPads that have X amount of processing RAM will be able to use this feature, and so on. So it'd be more of a limitation of some of the components within the hardware than it would be a limitation of the model line.
Yeah.
So
Well,
maybe because you could have.
Marcus brings us back to reality, and
it's a rumor.
It's a rumor. So
Yeah.
we could speculate all this and
Right.
For
All
all
right.
we
Well,
know,
then let me ask: would you guys be interested in an iPad that had Bluetooth mouse support?
Oh, absolutely.
I said I would. I don't know about this.
So I mean, because this would require kind of a major change in how the user interface works. I mean, like right now, as far as multitasking goes, the biggest trick that it does is kind of the split screen. But if the iPad becomes more Mac-like, or more Mac-like in the sense that what was the name of it? It's still around, but hardly anybody uses it. The program that takes all of your applications and slams them up on your screen in a separate environment. It was like a function key away, and it would
like default
launch bar.
Yeah.
It was launch something, but hardly anybody used it.
Yeah, with the widgets. Or no?
No, that was dashboard.
Dashboard.
This was a whole different thing. This was a different environment that you could interact with your Mac with, but it looked more like iOS.
But I think the mouse would just be like an additional way to use it. I think the iPad could work exactly the same as it does now, and then if you want to add a mouse, and basically
it would be a pointing. It'd be a pointing device like
just
the pencil.
Like the pencil. It would be just basically a pencil in mouse form, more or less. You could move the mouse and you could click on it, but that's about it.
Okay. I think that's going to do it for tonight. It's kind of a shorter show, but we are still having a few technical difficulties with audio, and of course, I'm so distracted. If Dave, if people wanted to get a hold of you, how would they do it?
Well, the first place they would go is intouchwithios.com. That is my podcast that I will be recording after this show tonight with Mr. Chuck Joyner. And lots of stuff that we talk about relates to iOS and iPod and iPhone. So give that a listen.
Make sure you tell Chuck I said, hey.
I will do that. And then
you got to say it just like that, too.
Hey.
Yeah, exactly.
And then that you can find that on iTunes, as well as I do a podcast with my friend Steve. We talk about horse racing. Off the Charts Horseracing.com is the website, and that's my non-tech podcast, and we have fun there.
Yeah, and I got both of those set up right there. Isn't that nice?
You do. Thank you so much.
Yeah, amazing. Warren, how about you, dude?
Facebook.
Are you still like not telling anyone how to get a hold of you?
I could, but
you have to kill us all later.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Nobody wants that.
You could find me on Facebook Live at 8:00 on Wednesday nights here.
Okay, and if you would like to get a hold of me, you can find me. You can send me email, guy@mymac.com. I am also Mac Parrot or Vert Shark over on the Twitters. You can find the stuff that I write, and I should write more often, and I don't, over there at mymac.com. And I haven't updated Vert Shark in a while, and shame on me. Of course, I haven't done Guy's Daily Drive in a while either, so shame on that. Been busy. I've been busy, man. I also do the mymac.com podcast, which you can find nearly every probably Sunday or Monday over there at mymac.com. You can find them all over there on the iTunes. And I wanted to quickly talk about MacStock 2019. Going to be held July 27th and 28th in Woodstock, Illinois. Your chance for early bird tickets is almost over, and that price is $179 for practically 3 days of nonstop entertainment. It's such a great time. You can see the speakers, you can talk to the speakers, you can learn stuff. It's just so much fun. I've been going now for the last 4 years. This is the 5th year in a row that I've gone. But it's not even really $179. You can get an additional $10 off by using the coupon code MyMacGuy, or if you don't want to use mine, you can use Dave's, which is
In touch.
In touch. So mine is easier. Yeah, mine's easier. MyMac Guy. It's so easy. So
mine is fidget spinner. You get 20% off. Yes.
Yeah, I don't think that's a thing.
Buy him a ticket.
Yeah, you need to go. I'm taking the train this year.
I saw it.
Yeah.
Trains go out that way?
They do. They go right. And the cool thing about the train from the DC area is I don't have to switch. It's a single run all the way to Chicago. And then I'll get my rent-a-car when I get there, and I'll be all nice and refreshed from not sleeping on a train instead of not sleeping in a hotel room. And yeah, that's going to work out really well. So I'm looking forward to it. Oh, speaking of Mac stock, some of the things that's going to be going on there, I got so sidetracked. We've got the Mac swap that's going on again this year. We have Barry Falk's Midwest Mac Mingle. I was careful. All the fun stuff that's going to happen on Saturday night. There's going to be 2 game rooms, and I can tell you, based on my experiences from last year, it's going to be a blast. Tim and I are also doing the MyMac Game Show quiz, where you can win all kinds of prizes, and even if you don't know the answers, we'll probably give it to you anyway, because we want you to win the prizes. We don't want to take this stuff home. We want to push it out the door. You won't find new cars, but there'll be some cool stuff. Tim always manages to get some really, really great prizes. So I think, guys, that's going to do it for this evening.
By the way, Frank said Dave is speaking. He's right. I am speaking.
Yeah, you are. You are.
5th year.
And 5th year. And tell them about the theme for this year. I am so disorganized tonight.
The theme is create.
Create.
We already know what you create.
Yeah.
Your quiz show, but I have to actually have a presentation that is based on create, and I can sneak out and tell everybody what I'm going to talk about it, because I will be talking about it on Chuck's show at one point here. I'm doing a presentation on notes, being able to be creative using notes and all the different types of notes apps that are out there.
Excellent.
So you'll hear about that. You catch that on Mac Voices when he does my interview.
Yeah, I don't know how soon he gets those out after he records them.
The road to Mac stock, he does.
Yeah, and this is, I think, his 3rd year of doing that.
I think he's been doing it almost all 5 years.
Has he? Okay.
Oh, maybe 4 years. This will be the 4th year.
Okay.
I don't think because the first year was so quick, we didn't have it that quickly.
That's true. I mean, because that was a quick turnaround, and we're just still talking, aren't we?
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, we should wrap this whole thing up. So thank you all for watching and or listening. This will be out later as an audio podcast, and we shall catch you all next time right here next Wednesday, hopefully. On I almost said Guys Daily Drive, but it is not Guys Daily Drive. It is the Mac to the Future Go livecast. So would you both say good night, Dave Warren?
Good night, Dave Warren.
I love Guy 123.
That's his password.